So Kerala is also making some impressive strides in the web space arena. This one was pretty interesting. Hi guys, this is Farhad and welcome back to my channel Popcorn Reviews. If you're new to this channel, then please smash that subscribe button now. And as a video ritual, remember to like and comment on the video. Liking and commenting helps fuel the YouTube algorithm. And today, our business is a little different. I don't generally, review Malayalam web series which have been, plugging in here and there throughout the year. But this one I was quite looking forward to because I had quite liked, in fact, quite loved the first season. So the web series that we are going to be talking about is the new Malayalam web series, which is Kerala Crime Files, and this is season 2 that we are going to be talking about. And this is quite interesting of a franchise itself, which actually focuses on different cases through different seasons. So if you haven't watched season 1, it's perfectly fine. It's a fresh case and few fresh characters. There are a few characters that have also been connecting the thread between the first season and the second season. But even if you haven't watched the first season, you can go ahead and watch the second season. But instantly the one thing that I noticed as a drastic difference from the first season to the second season is the tone of the drama. When I say the tone of the drama, I mean in terms of the narrative style also. There, the narrative style, if you remember, for people who watched it, know that they also focused on the plight of the police officers while solving the case which was in their hands. Here, there is no distraction as such. It's completely focused, it's cerebral, it's understated, and more towards the realistic side. Now, when I say realistic, the direct comparison cannot be with a film like Ronth. Ronth was something else in terms of the detailing. Okay, this is more realistic in terms of the understated tone of the characters, I can say, of the drama, of everything. So it's more towards that. It's less commercial, more cerebral. And one thing that struck me as to why this has happened is because it is written by Bahul Ramesh. Now, for people who remember, Bahul Ramesh is the mind behind Kishkinda Kandam, one of my favorite Malayalam films from last year. And I think he's a master of scattered screenplays. What do I mean by scattered screenplays? It means that the screenplay starts from the fringes and slowly makes its way towards the center, where actually quite a lot of revelations and everything happen. And also, as a byproduct of that, there's no spoon feeding in such a narrative. It's almost like non-linear with the way it unfolds, only to bring things together and give you an indication, with an ambiguous indication about what the things are going around with. Here, the cold open tells you exactly that. So coming to the story and screenplay, the cold open here, it's almost like an antithesis of sorts, wherein you actually see that the setting is of a museum wherein a robbery has taken place. So you would think, okay, this, is probably the case, and it has opened, to that. But the focus shifts on a little sniffer dog, and a sniffer dog that absolutely goes rogue in the scene. And you kind of wonder that, okay, this is an interesting kind of a start. I didn't expect that the mood of the drama to shift, from point A to point B in the first scene itself, where the area of focus is not the setting in itself, but a particular subject, or in this case, an animal. And that is something of an antithesis of a cold open, you can say, which actually makes for an interesting kind of a watch. But at the helm of things, Kerala Crime Files Season 2 is more of with respect to the disappearance of a police officer that takes place. That police officer, played by Indrans, when you first spot him in the series, you have a certain judgment about the character, which works more towards his off-screen persona also. Indrans, the off-screen persona that I want to believe, and I don't know, I hope I'm right, is that he's a very soft-spoken kind of a person, and a very affable, very lovable kind of a person who's not, easy to hate in a way. And I think that is the impression that the character gives instantly when he offers his seat while traveling in a bus with a criminal, with a pickpocketer, and handcuffing the pickpocketer. He offers his seat to an elderly person. But 2 moments later in the scene, you see that something is wrong with the character. I'll not tell you what it is, but you can spot that there's something amiss with the character. Elsewhere, the setting remains that of a police station in which majority of the police officers are transferred, and they're transferred because they are affiliated to the criminals in certain ways. So there's a new lot that comes in, and the ones from the ones that are transferred is also the character of Indran's, Ambali. So what happens then is that when his character disappears, that's what kickstarts the investigation, this time featuring a bunch of new characters along with a few old characters as well. Now, one thing about the drama that I really like is that it can also be viewed as a character study in terms of the character of Arjun Radhakrishnan. What was his character's name? I don't recall his character's name, but Arjun Radhakrishnan, the character that was there, he is new to the police station. So you see that his character is not aware of the whereabouts of the police department. It's almost similar in a way to the character that Roshan Matthew played in Ronth. He's not familiar with it, and this is the first law and order posting that he's given up. So you see that his character actually wants to make a difference, is righteous, but in a scene he gets fired for being lackluster with his attitude, and that's kind of a wake up call for him. In the very next shot, you see that giving instructions to his junior in designation, not in age, that he can definitely come, that junior can definitely come and tell him and advice about the investigation that is transpiring, irrespective of his designation or his uniform. And I think that defines his character. He's sincere, he's righteous, and he wants to make a difference. On a side note, when his character is introduced, you see also that there is a dog that is there, and you see that this dog, or it's not related to the first dog or anything of that sort, but it's symbolic that a dog will have an impact on the screenplay at some point in the narrative. And I think that was an interesting thread to maintain throughout the screenplay. Now, when the investigation kickstarts, it's like a giant jigsaw puzzle, as I said. There's an organic tone to it where one thing leads to another, but at the same time, I think the writing is almost a victim of the template, you can say, of the web show. Why do I say that? Because web shows are episodic. So here there are 6 episodes of the show, as compared to a film, say, which actually moves non-stop, barring that one interval block which is there, which the writers also tend to write a story around that interval block to just give that momentary high before the break happens. Here, the technical side of the writing is that it kind of gets a little convoluted in the middle, particularly because there are frequent breaks in the structure. Breaks because of the episodic nature of this template of web series. And I think that was a little flaw, of the adaptability from the movie to the web series that fractionally, impacted the writing here. It was not bad per se. In fact, I love the writing here, but this was a technical point, which momentarily stalled things, And I think that, barring that, you also see that there are a few threads that are, running around, which are, interesting. So momentarily, little convoluted, of course, because it's also no spoon feeding to the audience that there's a certain air of ambiguity, joining this drama, and I think that makes things more interesting. Amidst that, there's also a little dynamic between the character of Indrans and Harishri. Harishri plays Ayappan in the film, on the show, and that's an interesting dynamic of the show as well. One is a cop, one is an ex-gangster, and up to a point, the character traits eventually get merged, and that makes for a very interesting kind of a watch. There's also an emotional core, tag to the drama, something that is relevant at the end. Also, the ending is a little ambiguous as well, I would say. So, without revealing too much about any of those plot points, I will still say that, the screenplay definitely does leave a mark, particularly with the investigation wherein it's intriguing, it's cerebral, it's also very understated. So I think you need to set your expectations that it is understated, and with that you can anticipate it. I found a little, but that's again very subjective, the convoluted nature of the writings. Overall, the screenplay makes an impact. I'm keeping my end of the screenplay part a little vague because I don't want to let out any spoilers. So quickly coming to the technical aspects, the dialogues, the music and the direction. I felt the dialogues are very conversational, and also they give information about the case that is there. It's razor focused on the case at hand. So there is no other loose talk or anything, and it's extremely focused. The lines are extremely focused, which is something that I really liked in that. The BGM is good. I would have actually ideally liked a little better BGM. Better BGM would have further elevated the drama and made it that much more impactful. I think the impact was there but not there for me. It's there but thereabouts, but not exactly hitting the sweet note as far as I was concerned. The cinematography, definitely the cinematography keeps you invested, with a color paletting that is with the use of grey, absolutely, that symbolizes grimness in the drama. I think that was very interesting as well. Editing is also pretty good, to restrict the length of the drama, of the show rather, to under 3 hours is an achievement in today's case, where the shows are non-stop going on and on and on. I think in that case the editing is really good as well. Director Khabeer, I think he does a wonderful job. He maintains a grip on the proceedings and definitely leaves an impact with his direction, along with his characterization, and also the setting. I would say the way he constructs and handles different threads, I think it was pretty commendable, because there was an ambiguity around the writing that was there, which was purposely done. It was designed to be ambiguous. Keeping that in mind, I think the director really held together the proceedings and did a wonderful job. Now, quickly coming to the performances, I think the performances, definitely leave a mark as well. Some of the veterans like Lal from the previous season, even Arjun Varghese, wonderful performers, and I think they did a wonderful job as well. Ranjit Shekhar, also manages to leave a mark, very impressive. Harishri, Indrans, all of them, definitely leave a mark. But it is an Arjun Radhakrishnan show this time around. I think here's an actor who's, excelled in a lot of negative roles, I would say, lately. He's done his fair share of positive roles as well, but majorly, the impact of his career has been due to the negative roles or the greyish type of roles, and here he finds himself on a different sort of a zone, where he plays the cop, and I think he did a pretty marvelous job. His body language, his posture, his expressions, his eyes, I think wonderful. I think it was a wonderful performance. He was not a character that you would often see screaming or shrieking. It's almost like an internal character. He was also not a superhero cop, the ones that you would generally associate in a commercial film. He's not a superhero cop. He's very understated, very righteous, very sincere as his character trait. And I think he did a pretty bloody good job on this show. And I think it was, a step ahead as an actor as far as Arjun Radhakrishnan is concerned. So overall, I felt that the second season of Kerala Crime Files is a compelling watch. It's actually a cerebral police procedural, if I can call it, with wonderful performances. Yes, it gets a little convoluted in the middle, I would say, but that's again, firstly, a subjective criticism. It might be only for me. And secondly, it's actually I think a problem of the format more than anything. If this was converted into a film, that problem may not have occurred, because there wouldn't be momentary breaks with the end credits that would roll, or something like that. The halt was frequent, which is why I felt a little more Other than that, I think it's a wonderful, addition, and I hope that the Malayalam film industry ventures into even better ventures as far as the web shows are concerned. Overall, I really like Kerala Crime Files, and I would recommend it. Yes, you can watch it and let me know your thoughts. If you already have, you can share your thoughts. If there are any recommendations or any discussions around the show or anything else, leave that in the comment section. Remember to like/dislike on the video as well. Any sort of engagement helps a small creator like me. You can share this video with your friends and family. Ask them to subscribe to the channel. Let's grow this Digi family together. My detailed review of Kerala Crime Files is available on my site, Popcorn Reviews with a double S, the link of which is in the description box below. You can also follow me on different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd, and Nokia, I would say. It was a banger of a weekend. All theatrical releases that were out actually made a mark. English, Telugu, Hindi, all of it made a mark. All those reviews are available on my site, and the captions are available on the social media platforms. I would encourage you to visit that as well. I'll see you again soon with another video. Till then, take care of yourselves, and thank you so much for your love and support. Cheers.